Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, and together we'll work with business leaders and industry experts to dive into the misunderstood business of cybersecurity and compliance to learn how to start making money from being secure and compliant. Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, Chief Security and Compliance Architect here at Input Output. Very happy to have you back here with us today. And we've been talking about email setup, email security, the records, SPF, DKIM, DMARC, all that jazz. And I see a lot of the same problems, especially with SPF records. And today, I wanted to go through the big issues that we see in misconfiguring SPF. So that's today, looking at the biggest things that people overlook, the way they make the mistakes, the way that they misconfigure SPF, and it doesn't necessarily come down to not knowing how to set it up. A lot of these happen even with IT pros and teams that understand SPF, know how it needs to be set up, and still make these mistakes that end up causing the exact same issue as if you didn't have one at all. So we're going to jump into all that today. Before we get started, please click that like, click that subscribe, show us some love, and let us know in the comments things that you would like to hear about, and also the things that you've implemented that have actually worked really well. So let's jump into it. Like I said, there's definitely the issue with not understanding what SPF is, not understanding how to set it up. And I think that's its own animal. You can definitely, our platform can help. We'll even put in some links to some of the articles that we wrote about how to set things up, what it looks like. And once you understand the SPF record, and there's a lot of templates out there, even, you can still have each of these issues, because all of these problems that we're going to talk about today really have nothing to do with not understanding SPF. It's understanding it and not doing it right. So let's get into it. The first and the biggest issue that I see, the most common SPF blunder, it comes down to the human factor. And it really comes down to fat fingers, mistypes, typos, putting an extra space or leaving out a space, putting an extra colon, even sometimes putting an additional include statement can invalidate an entire record. And a lot of times this happens when making a change. Maybe you're adding another sender and you accidentally mistype it. You put that one little typo and it invalidates the entire SPF record. And now you're having problems. And if you're not monitoring, you don't even realize it. Another issue is, and I guess this one actually ties to not understanding SPF, but copy-paste issues. I saw a template. I'm just going to copy that and paste it right in. But I didn't really understand enough about it to tweak it to fit our environment. That, I think, falls more into the not understanding. But I would say as far as the human factor issues go, the biggest is really the typos, the fat fingers. And I've even done it myself. Even some of our IT partners have done it. So nobody's immune. You definitely got to be monitoring it. The next is forgetting key sending sources. Now, a lot of this happens when we forget to include third-party platforms. So like our marketing tools, HubSpot, Salesforce, anything that's sending emails on our behalf, we forget to put those into our SPF record. What also happens, and this is even more common, is the transactional services, things like Calendly or our CRMs or ticketing systems or our billing system that's sending out our invoices. We forget to add it in there. We want to make our emails and our billing invoices look really great by using our domain, but we forget to add it to our SPF. And what happens is those don't get delivered. And this one can be nasty because if you do have your SPF set up correctly, just not to these transactional systems or these other third-party platforms, you have it set up correctly. When you look at everything, my emails, they're all delivering. I don't see any problem. But you're not actively monitoring those invoices. You're not actively monitoring some of those other transactional systems. So those are just falling off left and right. They're not getting delivered. Your email reminders and your meeting notifications and the meeting invites, just a lot of those won't get delivered. So that's a really big one. You don't want to forget those third party and definitely not those transactional services. The next, and this ties in, I'll tie this in. It doesn't directly tie in, but I'm going to say bad SPF design choices. Now, one of these is multiple SPF records. I guess this does tie into not understanding SPF. This is sometimes also a fat finger issue, but I've seen this a lot, especially with domains that have tons of DNS records, is accidentally create a whole other SPF record. Or what you're doing is creating a new one and then you'll delete the old one, but you forget to delete the old one. Your domain can only have one SPF record. Now, your subdomains, depending on how you set it up, do need to have these. So sometimes what happens is this is a combination between multiple SPF records and fat fingering. We meant to set it up for the subdomain, but we didn't do the syntax correctly. So now our main domain has two, but it's obviously configured incorrectly and everything falls apart. Another issue is utilizing the plus all or the question mark all. Basically, that's just a misconfiguration issue. Sometimes also tied to the fat finger, but you want to make sure that you're using that correct syntax. Now, here's the one that actually ties into the transactional services, third-party platforms, is exceeding the 10 DNS lookup. Your SPF record can only have 10 lookups. And if you're adding in multiple platforms, we're using MailChimp, we're using Constant Contact, Salesforce, HubSpot, Calendly, billing software, all these different ones. And that's not an endorsement for any, although I love them all. As you add these in, you can quickly go over your 10 limit. Also, depending on how the include statements are set up, sometimes those can propagate to where it looks like you only have a few, but the include statements include a lot more that pushes you over that 10 limit. So that's another issue that can creep up, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you've configured it incorrectly, just that now you've gone over that 10 limit. The final one that I see are just general maintenance failures. This comes down to one where you have a vendor change. So one of the vendors that you utilize actually changes the way that they do their SPF record. Maybe you're using an include statement for another vendor, and now they change how they do things. And this can result in it being completely incorrect. It can also cause issues because now this can even throw you over that 10 DNS lookup limit. So kind of multiple areas that this can cause an issue and why you want to keep monitoring it. The other is orphaned entries. So we use a platform for a little while to a marketing campaign, but we never take it off. And in and of itself, that's not so much of an issue. What does end up happening is if you're not maintaining, you're not scrubbing, you're not cleaning up the SPF record based on the active vendors, active sending sources that you're using, you'll eventually exceed your 10 DNS lookup limit. Or if there's some sort of a problem, somebody's spoofing, it could open you up to that. So you want to make sure that you have those issues all resolved. Now, this isn't necessarily this last area that I want to cover. It relates to the SPF, not necessarily configuration issues, but some things that definitely come up. We see it a lot. One of them is it's just misunderstanding the SPF behavior. One is thinking that it covers the from address, and it actually covers the envelope sender, the return path. So this actually ties in with forgetting about forwarding and how it works with other solutions. If your email is forwarded, the SPF isn't going to work because of how the forwarding works, because of how it's managing the return path. There's also the misconception that DMARC will magically fix all of it. DMARC relies on SPF and DKIM to be set up correctly. So if your SPF is broken, your DMARC is going to break as well. All of this together, all of this has to work to make sure that you have a correct SPF record so that your emails get delivered, so that your emails go to the inbox. And any one of these things can cause it to break down, which will then cascade to possibly your DKIM and also definitely your DMARC settings. So it's very important to make sure that you set up your SPF correctly, but also that you continue to monitor the SPF because so many things can change. It's so easy to create a typo. Other companies that you're utilizing make changes on their side, and there's so many hands in the cookie jar. Your SPF cannot be a set it and forget it. It's just too important. So I think that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions about SPF, definitely reach out to us. More than happy to answer those questions, help you get things set up, and also help show you how even some of our platforms can make this very easy to set up, monitor, and continue to manage. Until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget, click that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share it with your network. Remember, security and compliance aren't just about avoiding risk. They're about unlocking your business's full potential. So stay secure, stay compliant, and we'll catch you next week on Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Goodbye for now.
Life goes up and it goes down. Life goes up and it goes down.